Hey there, peeps! It's me again, and I'm back for another exclusive interview podcast edition. This time, my special guest is no other than the lead steward of ICHI. So please welcome to our podcast, Mr. Bryan Gross.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me about ICHI.
All right, and also I would like to say hello to our listeners right here tuning into our podcast right now. Okay, so I hope you guys will enjoy on what we are going to discuss about ICHI. Okay, so Bryan, are we all set?
I'm all set. Let's get going.
All right, so first things first, Bryan, could you introduce yourself and share how you get started into the crypto and blockchain industry and what inspired you guys in creating and developing ICHI?
Hey, thanks for asking. So, yes, I came from more of a traditional corporate background. I used to work for Amazon and IBM. But while working with Amazon in the 2014 timeframe, I actually helped create a financial services entity within the bigger company called Amazon Lending. And in that role, I got very familiar with the financial system in Europe and moving money between accounts and dealing with regulators. And it added a ton of friction to our development time. So when I saw Ethereum in the 2015 timeframe, I wanted to work in the blockchain space instead because I saw how much better it could make our financial system. And so I joined IBM Blockchain. I helped IBM join the Hedera public network and run a node. Became part of their board and advisory council. But throughout all of this, we just realized that there's this tension in the blockchain space. There are three problems you wanted to solve: bringing on new users, bringing companies to build on the protocol, and really driving the scarcity of the tokens that secure the protocols. And it was very difficult to solve all three problems, and ICHI was invented to make that happen.
All right, so thank you so much, Bryan, for sharing to us on how you get started into the crypto and blockchain industry and what inspired you guys in creating and developing this project. Okay, for my next question, Bryan, what is currently the mission and vision of ICHI?
Yeah, so if you think back to the reason we're all here, the original Bitcoin white paper, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And it basically just said, just like we send messages of information on the internet, we should send value. This should be an online currency. But that hasn't happened. Instead, you simply hold on to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. You just store them. You don't use them like cash. And we haven't yet begun to use crypto for real business. So in order to do that, you actually need to provide all the functions of money. So one of these things that economists like to say is that money can be a unit of account, a store of value, and a unit of exchange. Again, we've only used it as a store of value. What ICHI enables is for every single other crypto project to govern their own unit of account and unit of exchange. That's their own branded dollar that stays worth exactly $1, but drives the scarcity of their store of value token.
All right, Bryan, so thank you so much for sharing to us the mission and vision of ICHI. Now on to the next question, which is one of the most important questions that I want to ask you, Bryan. Okay, so could you explain to us on how the ICHI ecosystem works and how it benefits the community like me and the rest who are tuning into our podcast right now?
Yeah, so I actually reverse it and start with the benefits. So I mentioned earlier that you want to grow with this community of users. You want to drive this ecosystem that conducts business, but also drive the scarcity of your store of value token. So the thing that blocks users is that it's kind of strange to them. What is this new money, this new token? It feels like they need to understand your white paper, how it's governed, where it came from, and the volatility itself scares off these consumers. So you often see 9 out of 10 consumers who look at a new crypto app drop the moment that they have to deal with the scarce crypto. And similarly with businesses, they have to make payroll, they have to make investments to grow. And so when you suggest that they use the scarce crypto, it just fluctuates wildly against their expenses and taxes and payroll, and they can't afford to. So they can't afford to use it. So by having this branded dollar, those consumers and those businesses can just have dollar equivalent balances, but yet they're still in your crypto ecosystem. Every single time one of these branded dollars enters circulation, some of the scarce crypto is minted or paid in to mint it. And it creates this community governed treasury for the people who hold that branded dollar. So really, it is a way to have that reliable unit of exchange these businesses and consumers can easily trust and understand. Really make the crypto system function the way that they're used to seeing things as dollar equivalent balances, while still driving incentives together to grow your ecosystem.
All right, Bryan. So thank you so much for explaining to us on how the ICHI ecosystem works and how it benefits the community around the world. So I hope that our listeners here in our podcast are learning so much from our interview right here, Bryan. Now, on to my next question. Who are your strong competitors in this space, and how would you guys stand out from the rest?
Really, our only competitor has been projects who attempt to do it on their own. This is the first time, and again, we've talked to the founders of many projects, and many project founders have had their teams looking for something like this and trying to build it internally. But there's never before existed a decentralized monetary authority protocol, and so that's a lot of words, but this DMA is a DAO customized for the purposes of managing this project-specific branded dollar. There was one other attempt about 2 years ago, but you just couldn't build it at that time without this deep liquidity that we see in DeFi today. So basically, now that we have hundreds of millions of dollars in things like a Uniswap and Balancer and Sushi Swap, you can create this DMA structure, and you can enable projects in this way, and it's a category creator. You know, there really isn't another project that's done it before ICHI.
All right, Bryan. So thank you very much for letting us know that you guys are the first of its kind. Okay, so on to the next question. Now, what sort of achievements that you have from the beginning until now, especially the current project partners on board with ICHI?
Yeah, so we launched ICHI version 2 just 2 months ago, maybe almost 3 now. And we launched with creating a stable dollar for Filecoin, and then we created one for 1inch, for 88 MPH for Pearl, and a few others. There's a large pipeline of projects on Ethereum who want the same, so we're working through proposals in their communities. And I think that's the most exciting achievement, is the fact that really the builders, the developers in the space who know the most about it, have chosen to partner with ICHI. And when they partner, it's not just advertising. They put their project's treasury into the ICHI contract. They provide quotes and marketing that shares the fact that they're creating this branded dollar with ICHI, with their community. And that's really what you're looking for right now. I think the next step, the next challenge, will be to grow out the use cases with each partner. But it kind of works like that. ICHI partners with another community, and then that community implements use cases for their branded dollar.
All right, Bryan, thank you so much for sharing to us the recent achievements that you have for ICHI from the beginning until now. Okay, so aside from the achievements that you have shared recently, there are challenges as well. So, Bryan, could you share what several challenges that you and your team are facing right now, and how do you guys overcome these challenges?
Well, I think that the main thing is that when you are a category creator, it takes people a little while to understand it. You know, people are used to thinking like, okay, that's like Compound, or that's like Sushi Swap, that's like Uniswap, but when you're the first of a kind, you have a little bit of a learning curve, not just for partners, but with their communities. And so hopefully we can get the word out. I thank you for having us on this call. I think that helps to kind of explain why we exist and what we're trying to do.
All right, Bryan. So thank you so much for sharing to us about the recent challenges that you and your team are facing these days and how you guys overcome them. Now, let's move on to the next question. Now, Bryan, could you share more about the exciting updates of future plans for ICHI and maybe a little bit of spoiler or something for the community?
Yeah. So by the way, I'm in the community. It's not it's been an interesting project where I was hired by the community 3 months after the project launched. So there really isn't me sharing things the community doesn't know. We all work on this together. But I think there are two strategies in place. One is to continue to grow vertically across Ethereum. So this is as we launch with the next Ethereum project. This is that's going quite well. Again, we have several dozen projects that are interested. If any others are interested, you can reach out to us on Telegram. But then there's also a bigger opportunity, which is to launch on other layer one networks. So you could think of this as more of a horizontal strategy. And with the other layer one networks, you might not have to gain market share project by project. You can actually create, in many cases, a stable dollar base asset that works together with their security token, like ETH or like Flow or like SOL on Solana, to enable their entire ecosystem. So that's one thing we're really excited about. We haven't launched on another layer one yet, but hopefully soon.
All right, Bryan. So thank you so much for sharing to us about the exciting updates and future plans of ICHI for the community. Now let's move on to the next question. Now, let's say you've introduced me to ICHI for the first time. Now, Bryan, could you give me some reasons why I should not miss out ICHI, and what would I miss if I'm not on board with your project?
Okay, well, so everybody needs to have dollars at some point for some reason, and if you go and use another stablecoin or just switch back to fiat, that's somewhat self-defeating. You've just sold all of your crypto. If you use one of ICHI's branded dollars, people have to purchase the crypto you're holding and pay it into mint. So you might as well just conduct regular business activities and something that supports the crypto projects you believe in.
All right, so thank you very much, Bryan, for sharing to us on why we should not miss out ICHI. Okay, so before we end, do you have any last minute parting words for our subscribers who are tuning into our podcast right now?
Really, just come in, read about ICHI at ICHI.org. You can follow us on Twitter. The link's there at that website, or join our Telegram community and ask us any questions. So I think just getting involved and learning more is the best thing to do.
All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the lead steward of ICHI, Mr. Bryan Gross. So, Bryan, once again, thank you so much for your time here with us right here on our exclusive podcast interview. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. And also, I would like to thank all of our subscribers and viewers who are tuning in to our podcast right now. So if you have any questions that were not covered in this podcast, of course, feel free to leave your comments right here below this video, okay? And one more thing, peeps, I would like to invite you all to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for you to stay notified about my latest videos and interviews regarding cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, decentralized finance, NFTs, and blockchain games. And you can follow my social media channels right here or in my YouTube description. Okay, so from my freaking home studio, this is Jeff, aka Nomad Fury, and I'm gonna see you all on my next video. Thank you everyone for tuning in to our interview. Thank you, Bryan.
Thank you, Jeff. Have a good day.